What's up? Rideshare Commando here. So, I wanted to follow up on a previous video I made a few months ago, where I basically went on a rant about millennials. Well, let's talk about that a little bit more. And let's throw a few figures out there based on personal experience. So one, the tight definition of millennial is 1989 or younger. And the loose definition is 1981 or younger. So by the tight definition, I'm not a millennial. By the loose definition, I am. I am one of you. Now here's the truth about millennials. Just because I am a millennial, I also hold myself to a much higher standard. As you've heard, I can sing, I can write in calligraphy. J'étudie français. Se habla español. Sorry, I've had a long day. And I can explain quantum physics to a child. I've done it. And I can explain temporal mechanics to a child as we understand it currently. I hold myself to a higher standard. And that's also because I was raised by my grandmother. And I think that had a really significant impact on me. My work ethic, how I treat people. I mean, yeah. So as far as millennials go, here's a couple facts for you. People that look my age or younger, because I usually don't ask people their age, it's rude. One out of about 20 rides will tip. Yet somehow I bring in about $100 in tips a week at least. So where does all that money come from? It comes from people that are older, have lived their life, and have had their ass handed to them at least once. Okay? I've been a server. I have worked in the service industry as I'm currently working. And people who work in the service industry, they go out of their way to help other people in the service industry. Most millennials, they went from high school to college, and then they had some friend in some place, or maybe they called upon a family member, and that's how they got their first job. That is a very, very consistent story I hear out here in Seattle, as well as back in Phoenix when I lived there. I didn't have that luxury at all. And I think I'm a better person for it. I study 2 hours a day, every day from the age of 18 until roughly about 27, 28. And that's enough for a few degrees, plus I actually did other people's degrees for them, 4 bachelor's and 2 master's degrees. I hold myself to a higher standard because I want more. But with millennials, the way that they grew up, and the next generation after them, everybody gets a trophy. That's why I make fun of it, because one-on-one, I haven't met a single person my age that could take me in business, that could take me in any way. In fact, I'm remiss to say this because I know my girlfriend's going to just chew me out if she ever sees this. But I used to be known in high school as the girlfriend stealer, and then I was known as quite the playboy in my 20s. I made a lot of mistakes, and that's what millennials have yet to make. They're not old enough to have had their ass handed to them. Now, when they do have their ass handed to them, or if life cripples them, then all of a sudden you're going to see a character change. You're going to see them reevaluate things. But they are very entitled. And I guess you might say I'm one of them. I'm just not entitled. I'm self-entitled, definitely. I was arrogant as hell up until about 25, and then I was just confident. Because after you lose your ass a couple times, you learn how to keep it. And I'm very good at keeping it. I'm not sure if that sounded right, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, if millennials started tipping or being considerate to others, if they started just handing out 5-star ratings instead of thinking on it and evaluating the ride and taking small things way too serious. I mean, millennials, they take everything so serious. One person, he called me up and he was rude. And what I told him was, okay, I'm not going to pick you up because you're rude, and I don't think that this is going to be a good ride. And then what he said was, no, stop driving. I'm going to call Lyft. You're going to get deactivated. You're done. You're done. No, you're done. That's about as self-entitled as you can get. And I held back because there's no point in arguing with a brick wall. But what I wanted to say was, all right, princess, what you going to do to me? And that little princess couldn't do nothing. And I'm sure his girlfriend that I heard in the background was looking at him like, here we go again. So listen, millennials, there's a reason I've been able to steal so many of your girlfriends. There's a reason for it, okay? Build some character. There's a reason I've been paid. I've had the same jobs as you guys, and I always got paid more. It's because I studied, and I learned a little bit of psychology, and I applied it. I hold myself to a higher standard. And I wish that all of you would do the same. Seek to improve yourselves. Okay? Don't just take the status quo. The status quo is why Amazon is just blowing a crap ton of money. And the same thing with Uber. Like, they've had some epic fails. Okay? And guess who's in there? People my age or younger. Wow. No wonder things aren't really getting fixed, are they? It's the reason I can dance around entire teams of you guys. I've done it. Hold yourself to a higher standard, okay? Instead of going out drinking with your buddies every night or watching The Office or any of that stuff, take that time to study. Learn a new language. Learn to play guitar, which I'm learning. Learn to play piano, which I taught myself, okay? I mean, pick up calligraphy. You want to impress a date, that's how you do it. Calligraphy, old school style. We're talking dip and write, and then seal it with wax. And I mean, if you want to go super cheap, go ahead and grab yourself one of those Sharpie markers and use the head of the marker to basically be your stamp on the wax that you got from a Walmart candle. I mean, I've done that. Okay, ghetto fabulous. That's what we're known for in Spanaway. But just hold yourselves to a higher standard. Okay, you've heard my diction. You've heard my eloquence in speaking when I choose not to use slang. Hold yourselves to a higher standard. I shouldn't be able to talk above people my age. I shouldn't be able to perform above people my age or think outside the box above people my age. Okay, if you don't want me to make fun of you guys, then don't be someone that can be made fun of. It's simple as that. And I'm still going to drive you folks. But keep in mind, when I say drivers should talk down to millennials like they would children, it's because millennials throw fits over stupid things. When they can't get their way, okay, they will call mommy and daddy, which is Uber and Lyft, and complain and lie and say whatever. Okay, when they stop acting like that, I'll stop talking to them like, hey, welcome. There's some chargers back there, and if you want some candy, yes, I do have candy in my car. If you want some candy, feel free. And feel free to change the Netflix if it's not something you like. I talk to every rider like that is under the age of 40. Everyone. And guess what? It works. If it didn't work, I wouldn't do it. So, and one thing you'll find about me too, I will never make fun of anybody unless I qualify. So I can make fun of Jews. I can make fun of fat people because they used to be fat. I can make fun of people with acne or with speech impediments. Hell, I can make fun of people that are disabled because technically, legally, I'm on the spectrum. I'm disabled, which is completely wrong, but whatever. I'll never make fun of anybody that I don't qualify or identify with. So folks, you want me to stop making fun of you or calling you out on things that everybody older than you knows? People that you can learn from? Change it. Oh, and learn from older people. I challenge all of you millennials to do this because you will be doing such a huge benefit to society. Go to a senior citizen home. Go to a retirement home. And spend 1 hour per week. Just 1 hour. I know that's long. I know for you guys that's like a nightmarish long time, okay? Spend an hour with some old folks. Or if you see somebody older, like the 81-year-old lady who came over here from Greece, and she is a researcher, and her husband were researching genetics back when genetics was super young, and in the 1960s. Talk to them. Learn. I loved that conversation. I wish I could have stayed in the car with her longer. She was such a vibrant and amazing woman. I think she's just amazing. And I encourage you, get to know some people that are older than you. Learn from them. If nothing else, learn from their mistakes. Because they are amazing people that have lived unique lives, every one of them. I love that I was raised by my grandmother. I love it to death because she taught me so much. And I love the older folks. There was a neighbor living next to my mother when I, went down to Oregon, and I got to know her. Her name was Jennifer. And she is an older lady. She is from Great Britain. She came from California. And you'll notice in all of my videos when I talk about somebody, I include a story. It's because I get to know them. But she is roughly about 63 years old. She had her hip replaced with cobalt hip replacement, and then they had to detoxify her. I know her story. And I know her stories from back in California, back in Great Britain. I know her history. Learn it. Learn from these people. Learn from their financial acumen. Learn from these IT guys that were there when computers, when they started up and booted up, they sounded like nuclear sirens. I actually owned one of these computers. I hunted one out at Goodwill, and I restored it. Just because I wanted to relive it and understand what they were talking about when they talked about code. The original code. 5.5 floppies and older, the tape drives. Learn from them. There's so much you can get. My fellow millennials, if you want to use the loose definition, join me. Educate yourselves. Become better. Don't celebrate mediocrity. That drives me nuts. The second I read that loose definition of 1981, my heart literally dropped. Because I don't want to be associated with a group of people that don't seem to have any regard for their fellow human beings. They will walk blindly across the street, never looking up or making eye contact. That don't even know the value of eye contact, but looking at their phones. There was one millennial, I swear he almost got plastered on the road. Excuse me. I've been talking all day. But he almost got plastered on the road because he was wearing all black at night around Christmas, last Christmas. Looking at his phone on an unlit street, not noticing any of his surroundings. And guess what? When I stopped abruptly in front of him, he didn't even look up. But he sure as hell did when I called him princess. I told him where he was, where he came from, where he was going, how he was getting there, and what river he was flowing up without a paddle. Yeah, I did actually say all of that very explicitly. Because I was more scared for him than he was for himself. I almost killed a man. If I hadn't stopped as quickly as I did, if I didn't have the reflexes I did, if I had the reflexes of other people like me, my age, then he would be dead. If I was an average millennial without a martial arts background and without mental training, he would be dead. Understand this. Making yourself better, it improves the people around you, and it improves your own life. So if you want to get on me for ranting about millennials, go ahead and get on me. Challenge me. But if you challenge me with actual data. Challenge me with facts. Challenge me. Don't just, I don't like this guy. Don't do that. Challenge me. Don't go off and rant and so on and so forth. Don't go crazy. Challenge me. Debate me. This is my challenge to you. Let's have a good argument. If you have nothing else but steam to blow, let's have a good argument, all right? Anyway, I love all of you because you are my fellow human beings. And I break my back to make your lives better whether you know it or not. And I'm doing so many things behind the scenes that ain't even funny. So drive safe out there. Get to know some old folks. Spend some time in an old folks' home because God knows they're lonely. People don't visit them enough, and when they do, they don't spend enough time. Okay, that's one of the programs I'm trying to initiate using government subsidies, where we get paid to spend even 15 minutes before driving somebody from a retirement home. I'm trying. I wish all of you would too.